Hey ladies, this is Mara and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a follow-up to my other video about finding your voice. And I think I'm going to do a mini series on this topic because this is so important in the dating game. So this video in particular is going to be speaking about building your standard. And ladies, I chose this picture because I thought this was fabulous. I love how she is in a beautiful mansion. Love the flowers. I love the chandelier. I love the beautiful furniture, the coloring, everything. It just screams luxury. And I like these pictures because it helps us visualize the type of lifestyle that we deserve, okay? Especially those of us who enjoy luxury and desire that in our lives and like the idea of having a hypergamous marriage and relationships. So my platform is for ladies who are into wanting the finer things in life and for relationship advice, dating. I do have a finishing school where I help men and women with the art of courtship and strategy. Okay, so let's jump into the topic, which is building your standard. Now, if I were to ask you, what are your standards? A lot of people surprisingly do not have an answer. They might refer to a height or maybe looks, but when it comes to actually their expectations of what they're looking for in a mate, they don't have a real answer. They don't know what kind of income bracket they want. They don't know where he stands with his faith. They don't know, family values and what that means to them and what they want their man to have. So just think about these things. Like, write these things down. Also think about what kind of behaviors, what kind of traits that you realized over your life that are very complementary to your personality, right? So, for example, I would say one of my standards is having a man who is very steady. I can be very erratic and, passionate and make kind of overly analytical, and having someone who has that really calm energy, but that's very steady, that can help calm me down, is something I really need. It's that balancing energy. So that, for example, that could be a standard of yours, or that could be an expectation, a behavioral expectation. So I do challenge you to think about this. And men, if you are watching this video, you can make this work to you also when it comes to building your standard. So so back to you ladies. Now, a lot of the time, men are going to ask you, rather that is on a dating app, rather that is in person, what do you like to do? Now, a lot of the time we don't tell the truth because we're too afraid of coming off superficial. And I say this because this happened to me. And I know there are other women like this that have this problem. So I really want to break this down and get rid of the fear, because we have to be authentic in all ways. We cannot be afraid to vocalize what we want and what we like. And there's no shame in saying, for example, I like fine dining, or I like art galleries or fashion shows or wine tasting events, or I really like pottery, and I really am into jewelry making, or whatever that is for you. You cannot be afraid to vocalize that. I know sometimes there are a lot of men that, despite us having confidence, that kind of intimidate us. And we cannot allow that, because this is where you have to remember, ladies, that you are the prize and your voice matters and your likes matter. I know this sounds so basic, but when you're talking to men and they're asking you these questions, a lot of the time I feel like women, we kind of go into our shell and we don't really want to express everything that we like. That you like shopping and getting your hair and nails done because you don't want to sound too quote unquote superficial. But these are the things that men appreciate. They appreciate a woman who's very well put together. So they naturally know that this is a part of your routine. So why are we afraid to say it? Now, if you're anything like me, trust me, I was a huge pick-me chick before I came into my level up process. That took me years of transition, years of healing through God and His Holy Spirit. It took me a lot of time in healing. Okay. So I am vocalizing the mindset that a lot of you ladies might be struggling with, because a lot of the time, even though I, for example, have confidence, I know other women that have confidence and know what they want, we still struggle with these very simple things. So I just don't want you to get intimidated when men, for example, come off like they're maybe, so for example, let me give you an example. Let's say there's a guy, let's say his name is, Jeremy. Okay, he is a surgeon and he's very well spoken, and he speaks about reading and discussions and politics and all of these things. And he asks you, what do you like to do? And you feel intimidated and you feel as though you need to say that you like reading and you like certain things and you like documentaries. And that might not be true, but you just kind of feel like this urge to want to impress so that you feel like you're on his level, or that he can think that you're on his level. And that's just an illusion. You can be on his level or above his level in every single way because of who you are and your integrity and your character and who you are as a person. And you don't have to be afraid to say, actually, that's great that you love those things, but I love shopping, I love getting my hair done, and I love wine tasting. I'm very intrigued by how wine is made, how it's being packaged. I love the whole process. And that in itself is a very interesting thing to talk about, an interesting thing to study, just as an example, right? How many of you guys can relate? You just kind of blabber at the mouth and just agree to like things that you really don't like. And you end up having these false dating experiences where you're really not being authentic, because you're kind of walking on eggshells, because you're not really fully being yourself, because you don't really feel free. So I hope this is making sense, okay? And if it is, definitely give this video a like. Okay, comment. I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear your experiences, okay, ladies? So let me give you guys a story to make this really make sense, okay? Now, I was afraid to vocalize my desires and the things that I really enjoyed doing, because I had heard so many conversations from affluent men who were complaining about women. They're just gold diggers. They're just using us. They're just this, they're that. And I had overheard these conversations at coffee shops, at random places. And, you overhear conversations and you're just like, oh my goodness. But then I had to remind myself not to fall for that, because those men are wounded. And that's not saying that every man thinks like that. Okay. And if the guy that I'm talking to thinks like that, we are obviously not a match, because I will not be ashamed to say that I like the nicer things in life and you just think I'm using you. Okay. I'm not going to fall for that mess, because when you're dating in these affluent circles, a lot of these men will try to trick you into accepting less than what you deserve. So there are dusties in every single level of society, whether that be low and broke or super high and rich, and they're just stingy and they're unwilling and they're just not willing to do anything for you. So this is where your vetting comes into place, which is why finding your voice is important and why you need to list what you like. So back to story time. I was dating this painter. Let's call him Brian, okay? I was dating Brian and he seemed really, really cool and I really liked his vibe. We were laughing and it was great and great energy between us. And I remember on the first date, he definitely gave me a test. And listen to this test, ladies. He was like, oh my goodness, my ex-wife spent so much money, like XYZ a month, and so hard, and I couldn't believe it. And the money that he claimed that she spent was quite a lot, and it was to the point where I was automatically like, oh my goodness, that's a lot, because he was trying to get me to sympathize with him. And I did, not realizing that it was a test, because it was almost like, don't ask me for money or don't ask me to spend, or it was almost like a bragging situation, but also like, don't ask me for anything. It was very weird. I don't know how to really describe it. I mean, there's so many different angles to look at the story. But one angle is he was definitely bringing up money on the first date. And I felt uncomfortable because, for example, he's trying to impress me. He's talking about how he has these designer brand things and he has this and that and da 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 da. And I was really impressed. And I was like, ooh, And see, what I did, my mistake was I was like, oh, you have Louboutin shoes? That's so cool. Yeah, they're really comfortable. I really like the look. They're very sleek and this and that. Instead of me just being authentic and just saying, actually, I've tried them on, but I don't have one. I don't own a pair. Like, I'd love to have them one day, right? And kind of throw in that feminine suggestion. I didn't say that because I felt intimidated because he had all these grandiose things and I felt like I had to make up something to feel like I was on his level, for example. And so naturally when he asked me, oh, what do you like to do and this and that, I wish I said shopping. I wish I said getting my hair and nails done, but I was like, oh, reading and arts and crafts and cooking and spending time with my family. And I was just I went back into being that small town girl that I'm really not. That mentality, I should say. I went back into that mentality because I wanted to seem humble. And I am a humble person, but I do have my likes. And, and so anyway, my point is with the story that the dates after that point were more so for him than they were for me. And I know you ladies can relate because when you don't voice what you like, naturally the date's going to kind of fall flat because the guy is getting more out of it than you are. So if it's just him getting a meal and you guys are sharing a meal together, it's just like, whatever, we had a meal, but then what? What's the activity? The activity needs to be something that you enjoy. This whole courtship process is to woo you, is to impress the woman. So use your truth, use your voice, say that you like to go to art galleries, say that you like to go to fashion shows, and see how he shows up for you, and see the kind of dates that he's going to plan for you. Like, do not be afraid. Are you guys following? Do not be afraid to vocalize and say, I like this. No, I don't like going to sporting events. No, I don't like that. Maybe we can do that like on date number 9. But as far as the first 5 dates, it needs to be things that I like to do. Usually it's always going to involve food of some sort. And, men usually like, they like their stomach full and they're happy. So a lot of the times men are really easy to please. So as long as they have a really good meal, they're usually fine. And, beautiful aesthetics. And you are the beautiful woman and you're sitting right in front of them. I mean, what else could they ask for? So let the man really think about how to impress you and create an actual plan to, woo you. So if you say, you know what, I love hydrangeas, I love tulips, those are my favorite flowers, for example, very small thing. This is a feminine suggestion. I like this, I like that. And he's like, oh, okay. So next time he sees you, he'll show up on the date with flowers, right? That is usually how it goes. So I only say this and I share my story time with you all because I want you to know that I'm also going through these things. I have gone through them. I relate to a lot of you on so many different levels because I know when it comes to matters of the heart, there are so many weaknesses that we all have, which is why I'm here as your supporter, as your cheerleader. And which is why I give you guys this free content, this free help on YouTube outside of my paid program, because we have to have these conversations. I want us to all be candid and honest with one another, because a lot of the time it's like we just are afraid to say what we like to do. And I'm telling you, you end up fumbling the bag and not getting what you want in the first 3 dates and end up sabotaging the chemistry and the whole entire dating process because you're not being you, and these men sense it. And they know that you're not being authentic, and this is why things die off. I'm telling you the truth because I've experienced it with men multiple times. And when you keep falling into the same traps, you have to start doing a self-evaluation. Is there something I'm doing? Is there something I'm saying? And this is what I came up with. The fact that I was not being truthfully myself because I was trying to make them feel comfortable, trying to fit into this mold of being the humble girl, quote unquote, who did not want to be, superficial, quote unquote. But a lot of these men test you. You have to beat them to it. When they say, what do you want? What do you like? You got to tell them straight up. This is what I like. This is what I want. Can you handle it? Yes or no? Because a lot of these men, if you don't do it first, they will beat you to it. And they'll just be like, for example, I don't like women who, I'm so grateful, for example, that you're not one of those women who likes to use men, or that's a gold digger, for example, or that's this or that's that. And by saying that, they have entered your mind subconsciously, right? And they have pretty much groomed you to act like you don't want those nice things because they're saying to you pretty much, I'm not going to give it to you. So now that I put it out there, it's pretty much they're making you act in that role, if that makes any sense, right? So all of a sudden, you're like, I don't want to think I'm a gold digger, so I'm not going to tell him that I like shopping or that I like getting my hair done or that I'm not going to ask him to buy this really cute dress for me on this date or for this date, right? Because you have fallen into the trap. Or whatever that is. Or if he's like, you know what, for example, it might not be that. It could be a comment like, I'm not really the planning type. I'm not really the romantic type. So naturally, he grooms you to believe that you're not going to get anything out of him regarding a planned, thought out experience, and that you just have to accept whatever nonsense he gives you, okay? All kinds of things men test you with regarding when they try to groom you in the beginning. And it's like I said, all is fair in love and war. You got to beat them to it. I like men, for example, you tell us, I like men who are successful and generous and appreciate a feminine woman that enjoys the finer things in life. You already put it out there. So it's really up to him to figure it out and get in that role, or for him to back up and back out. Just like how you have every right to back up and back out if they are trying to put those limitations on you, okay? I hope this all makes sense. I will be making more content regarding this topic, okay? Like I said, please like, subscribe, comment, and stay tuned for more content regarding my channel. See you guys later. Bye-bye.